Hi everyone. So I'm Sambhav Daga, Chartered Accountant, and my partner Gurvinder Ravi.
So intro तो आपने बहुत अच्छा दिया है कि we are the only two superheroes. It casted a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, and let's see what we can deliver. Because having said that, the entire thing has to be done within four corners of law. So what best can we tweak or optimize is what we are going to inform you guys, right? So I think someone will be taking over with respect to the tax benefits in your salary slip and as well as few financial planning tips. And I will be taking the labor law part, which is the most painful part, by the way, because there cannot be any tweakings that this deduction has to be done, so it has to be done. So first, let's take over the advantages and how you can plan and optimize your taxes and your financial planning and goals. And then I'll be taking over the labor law part. Yeah, handing over to someone.
Thanks. So अगर मैं बोलूं तो सैलरी में there are very few things that you can do to avail the exemptions. Nevertheless, there are many things जो फिर भी लोग use नहीं करते. So I'm going to discuss upon those points today. So you can reduce your salary income through exemptions and through deductions. So Income Tax Act allows various exemptions that you can avail as a salaried employee, and you can take a benefit of a lot of deductions. So your salary comprises basically of three things. It's a part of basic salary and allowances and perquisite. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between an allowance and a perquisite? If they know, okay, let me tell you. Allowance is something which is a monetary benefit that a company gives you. Perquisite is something which is a non-monetary benefit that a company gives you. So, for example, a company provides you a motor car, that's a perquisite. If they give you any allowance for traveling, that's an allowance. Like if they give you 20,000 for traveling, that's an allowance. So let us discuss the first exemption that you can avail. That's leave travel assistance. You also call it leave travel concession. So leave travel concession is basically given when you go on a vacation or a holiday or you travel within the country. So if you do that, you are eligible to claim LTA twice in a block of 4 years. So this block is basically the current block is calendar year 2022 to 2025. So as we were discussing, LTA you are eligible to claim LTA twice in a block of 4 years. So the current block is 2022 to 2025. In 1 year, you can avail LTA only once. And suppose you have not availed LTA in a block of 4 years, out of 2, you can carry forward one LTA to the next block. So what happens? How much is the exemption that you can claim? So if you, along with your family, travel to any place, so for the airfare, economy airfare, or for the AC first class airfare that you spend, you will get an exemption of that amount, or the LTA given by your company, whichever is less. So suppose a company provides you an LTA of 50,000 rupees, you spend 55,000 rupees for, and that is the ticket cost that you spend for you and your family. So you will get an exemption of 50,000 rupees. So what happens generally, many companies do not have LTA as a part of their CTC. So make sure LTA is there so that you can avail the necessary tax benefit, and it is eligible twice in a block of 4 years. So for 22 to 25, you can use it in 22-23, and then you cannot use it in the later 2 years or any 2 year out of the 4 years. Now let us discuss about HRA. So house rent allowance, there is basically a slab. So out of all, the lower of these three things get an HRA benefit. So it is the lower of HRA that you actually receive from the company, rent minus 10% of your salary, or 40 or 50%. So in Raipur, 50% of the salary is for metros. So in Raipur, 40% of the salary is eligible for the HRA exemption. So the lower of these three things, you are able to avail the HRA benefit. Who cannot claim HRA? Because HRA is being given for you for your rental accommodation. So if you own a house in the city and you live there, you will not get HRA benefit, but you can do a tax planning here. Even if you live with your parents and your house is registered in your parents' name, you can claim HRA benefit. You can show that you're paying rent to your parents and claim HRA for the same. So out of these three limits, the lowest amount will get an exemption. So there is actually a way you can optimize it in such a fashion that you can get the best HRA exemption out of your salary. So how many of you have kids? Please raise your hands. Okay, quite a few. So if you have this exemption is only for those people who have kids. So suppose you and there is a children education allowance that you can get. So that is 100 rupees per month per child. Government still thinks that to send a child to a school, only 100 rupees per month is the cost. So we might foresee that these slabs are raised because it's very old. And if you send your child to a hostel, so they have allowed an exemption of 300 rupees per month. So right now, if this exemption is up to 2 child, so right now you can avail a total of 9,600 rupees per annum. So even somebody might say like this is a very small amount, but if you fall under 30% slab, you tend to save 2,000-3,000 out of it. So all the exemptions that you add up and you do a math of 20% and 30%, you actually tend to save a lot of money. You can then gift yourself an iPhone out of all those savings that you are paying to the government. Next is the gift voucher. So every year, as I told that I told you about allowances and perquisites. So any gift that an employer gives you up to rupees 5,000, it is not added to your salary income. Then there are various exemptions on retirement benefits. This is a very detailed discussion, so I'm not covering all of it. So if you receive gratuity, if you get pension on retirement, voluntary retirement retrenchment compensation, all of these things, there are some slabs. So approximately 10 to 20 lakh, basically you when you receive on your retirement, you will not be taxed on that amount. Other exempted allowances are expenses. Now you can structure your salary in such a way that the conveyance allowance and the daily and the travel allowance that you do for the business. Suppose there's a sales team going out, spending on travel for business use. If you do that, you can claim that expenditure and that will not be taxable in your hands. How many of you know about the old regime of taxation and the new regime that came 2 years ago? Anybody has any idea?
New regime is basically there is a flat percentage, which is like 8%, and depending upon the slab, there is a flat percentage which we take, irrespective of, we cannot take any, exemption.
No, sir, you are talking about a different thing. So that's for business. So basically, 2 years back, a new regime, government has come up with a new regime. So they have made different slabs and lowered taxation on those slabs. But what has happened in that case, you cannot claim any deduction. You also need to forego many exemptions. So standard deduction is one such exemption that everybody can avail if you're opting for an old regime. So you're paying tax on a higher slab, but you get benefit of 50,000 per annum. So this is a standard deduction given irrespective whether you spend anything or you do not spend. So there is no separate meal allowance or helper allowance or uniform allowance and all of those things. So they have just made it easy that you take flat 50,000 every year and this amount will be deducted from your gross salary. Now, after exemptions, let us discuss about various deductions that you can get. How many of you must, many of you must have heard about ATC? Please raise your hands, the ones who have not heard about ATC. So almost everyone knows about ATC. But what generally you must have seen in the advertisements that if you buy a mutual fund, you get a tax benefit under ATC. But there are total 8-9 things that you can invest in for which you can get a tax benefit under ATC. So I have listed down the best options that you can avail according to me and the risk-free options under ATC. So if you're sending your child to a school, you automatically pay a school fee, right? What you pay as a school fee, you are eligible to take that as ATC deduction. Suppose you have a home loan. Now what out of the home loan you pay an interest, you also pay a principal from your EMI. So the principal portion that you pay, that is also deductible under ATC. So these are some automatic deductions that you get by doing something that you obviously would do. Then there's an employer provident fund. In every month you get salary, there's a PF deduction that is made by your employer. So that is also deductible under ATC. Very lesser known fact, when you go and buy a house, you pay a stamp duty, right? So that stamp duty is also eligible for ATC. So many people do not know that. And if you do not claim any deduction, you can never claim that. So if you fail to claim a deduction, it is assumed that you have claimed all your deductions. Government does not give you a chance to go back and claim the deduction again. After making all these payments and availing ATC, there's a very good product, ELSS. Basically, this is an equity linked savings scheme mutual fund. So what we advise is you should calculate all the other payouts that you make and the balance that remains for which to complete the threshold of 1.5 lakh, you should invest some money as an SIP in equity linked savings scheme. Then everybody should also take a life insurance premium also that you pay every year, that is also deductible under ATC. So out of all the options, I am now going to discuss some risk-free options that you have. So if you invest in PPF, if you have a girl child, you can invest in Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. So all of these are risk-free products, but they have a very big lock-in. So like PPF has a lock-in of 15 years, SSY has a lock-in until your daughter reaches an age of 18 or 21 or at the time of her marriage. So these things are also eligible for ATC, but they come with a huge lock-in. So it depends if you are a risk averse investor or you want to take risk. That on that basis you will be able to, and we'll cover all that in the later part as well. So ULIPs are also one such product that you get ATC benefits, but we do not recommend anyone buying ULIP because it's a very bad product. Generally, what banks and what agents sell you, all those products are very bad. A common man does not know. We'll cover all that later also. Second exemption that you can avail after ATC exhausting 1.5 lakh in ATC is NPS. That comes under 80 CCD 1B. So you can avail an additional 50,000 under NPS every year. NPS is basically a retirement product. So whatever you invest in NPS, it also has a huge lock-in. Until you reach an age of 60 years, you cannot redeem NPS amount from your NPS corpus. So, but having said that, if you fall under a tax bracket of 30% or more, it's a very good investment. You can choose how much risk you want to take, how much equity portion you want in your NPS, how much debt portion, how much government securities you want in your NPS allocation. One more thing I want to state about NPS: if you are already taking any retirement product, suppose you are investing in any product for your retirement, do consider investing in NPS because other products do not have a tax benefit. Next, how many of you have a health insurance here? Okay, so still 50% of you do not have a health insurance. Okay, so health insurance also comes with a tax benefit. If you take a health insurance for yourself, your spouse, your kids, all of that, your health insurance deduction is up to 25,000 rupees. If one of you is a senior citizen, the deduction goes up to 50,000. If you are also buying insurance for your parents, whether they are dependent on you or not, but you are bearing the premium amount. And if your parents, generally everybody's parent must be a senior citizen. So again, you can claim an additional 50,000 as deduction. Also, one more thing, those people who do not have health insurance, do you go for preventive medical checkup every year? Do you go for full body checkup and all of those things? So every year you can avail a deduction of 5,000 rupees under ATD. So if you have an insurance plus you have a preventive health checkup also up to 5,000 rupees, you can club that and avail the deduction up to 25,000 or 50,000 as per the specified criteria. And preventive health insurance, preventive health checkup deduction that I just told you about, up to 5,000 is eligible. Even if you do not have insurance, health insurance, still you can avail that. So many people who do not have health insurance still can take that deduction. How many of you have a home loan here? Okay, 30% of the people. So if you have a home loan is a very good product from a tax perspective because you get a lot of exemptions and deductions. So if you see here, you can avail a deduction under. Did somebody take loan in the last 3 years? Okay. So for all those people who have taken loan up to March 2022, they can avail an additional interest deduction of 1,50,000 plus they can take a deduction under house property of rupees 2 lakh, plus they can also take 80C benefits for principal portion of their EMI. So if you see, if you pay an interest of 1,50,000, okay, from your EMI, suppose your EMI is 20,000 rupees, so your total outflow is 2,40,000. The interest portion is 1.5 lakh, the principal portion is 90,000. 90,000 you can take under ATC, 1.5 lakh you can take under 24B, additional 1.5 you can take under 80EEA. For the interest portion, you are actually able to take it twice. So if you pay 1 rupee of interest, you get 2 rupees of deduction. Then to boost EV sales and EV market, government also provides a deduction on interest that you pay on buying electric vehicle. So suppose you buy a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler electric vehicle and you buy it on loan, you are eligible to claim deduction, interest deduction up to 1,50,000 every year for the interest portion that you pay on your loan. So the deduction is not for the complete EMI, it is for the interest portion that you have. So if somebody is planning to buy an EV vehicle, why I would say it is good to take a loan on EV vehicle if you already have a personal loan or if you have any other loans and you have money also, if you have the capability to buy that EV vehicle in cash. Okay, but I'll still suggest you pay off your personal loan and take a loan on electric vehicle, because for the interest portion you are able to get tax benefits on the same. There are a few deductions also. So the savings bank interest that gets credited every quarter in your bank account up to 10,000 rupees every year, it is not taxable. If for senior citizens, either FD or savings interest of up to rupees 50,000 is not taxable every year. So to summarize, so your salary income comprises of basic salary, allowances, and perquisites. Okay, so that makes your gross salary, out of which you can claim various exemptions and various deductions. Exemptions that you can claim HRA, you can claim leave travel allowance, so you can definitely claim around 35,000 of leave travel allowance every year. You can definitely claim an HRA of around 2.5 lakhs every year. Children allowance and hostel allowance, you can take 9,600. So these are the exemptions that you can take. So broadly, if you see around 3 lakh HRA, I have assumed HRA of 2.4 lakh for a person earning salary of approximately 6 lakh rupees. So even a person earning 6 to 7 lakh rupees, they can claim 3 lakh rupees in exemptions. And further, if you see, you can take 1.5 of ATC. Health insurance, there's a slab of 25,000, but practically health insurance will cost you around 10-12,000 only. So you can take another 10-12,000. If your parents fall under a lower slab, so many of you must like parents must have retired, or mother might be a homemaker. So pay health insurance premium for them from your account. So in that way, you are able to take tax benefits out of it. Then you can invest in NPS, but NPS again, it comes with a huge lock-in. Suppose you're 30-year-old and the lock-in is still 60 years. So it comes with a huge lock-in. So if you are if you don't need that money till your retirement, then you can invest, then you should definitely invest in NPS, because if you fall under a tax bracket of 20% also, your 50,000 NPS investment is costing you 40,000 only. And your money compounds on 50,000. So after every year you invest 50,000, your cost is only 40,000. Otherwise, you would have paid 10,000 as tax, right? You would have anyway paid 10,000 as tax. Then electric vehicle, if you buy electric vehicle on loan, you can get an interest deduction. So if you see, you can get a deduction of approximately 2 lakh to 2.5 lakh rupees. So if you plan up to 2 to 3 lakh of exemption and 2 to 2 around 5 lakh you can save as tax through exemptions and deductions. And then you get 50,000 of standard deduction also. So if you have a salary of 9 lakh to 10 lakh, there are many ways you can keep it under 5 lakh. Up to 5 lakh, there is no tax. So if your taxable income is 5 lakh 1 rupee, your tax is 12,500. If your taxable income is 5 lakh rupees, your tax is 0. So अगर किसी का 5,05,000 रुपए नेट टोटल इनकम आता है ना, तो 5,000 का आप डोनेशन कर दो. 5,000 का अगर आप एनपीएस में 50,000 नहीं डालना चाहते, 5,000 का आप एनपीएस ले लो, क्योंकि अगर 5,05,000 में आपको एनीवे 13-14,000 रुपए का तो टैक्स आ जाएगा. तो इफ यू इन्वेस्ट दैट 5,000, यू सेव 15,000 रुपए. So these are some ways you can optimize. Generally ऐसे बहुत सारे exemptions और deductions हैं, but I have only chalked out only those things जो practically relevant है, जो day to day use में हमको आता है, जो almost बहुत सारे लोगों के लिए eligible. Now let us discuss some few things about personal finance. So I'll not take much time here. So I'll basically tell you do's and don'ts that you should do. Personal finance is for everyone. It is for every person here. So when you learn something about personal finance, also share it with your family members. Also tell ladies at your house. They may not be aware of those things, but you should definitely discuss personal finance with your friends and families. So the first thing whenever you think about personal finance, first and most important thing is you should buy a health insurance. So all those people who do not have a health insurance, please buy it as soon as possible. Please try to plan, and because there are many options these days, the premium would cost like 12,000, 15,000. You can take that in EMI mode also, so that would hardly cost you like 1,500, 1,200 a month. But it is very important that you buy a health insurance. While buying a health insurance, you need to ensure few things. कि आपका जो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस है वो को-पेमेंट प्लान नहीं हो. को-पेमेंट प्लान का मतलब कि 70% आपको इंश्योरेंस कंपनी पैसा दे देगी और 30% आपको खुद देना. Always buy 100% cashless policy. So everything is reimbursed by your insurance company. Then buy health insurance for the whole family. क्योंकि तबीयत किसी की भी खराब हो सकती है. Anybody can suffer accident, suffer critical diseases. So buy health insurance for everybody in your family, even your parents. So what should be the ideal cover? Ideal cover ऐसा होना चाहिए कि if parents की एज आपसे ज्यादा है, तो उनके लिए एटलीस्ट आपके पास 40 to 45 days का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस कवर होना चाहिए. कि अगर वो हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हो तो उनका 40-45 दिन का खर्चा इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बियर करे. और आपके केस में फॉर यू, योर स्पाउस एंड किड्स, इट शुड एटलीस्ट बी 30 days. 30 days का कवर आपको लेना ही चाहिए. सो अगर उसको ब्रेक डाउन करें तो आजकल हॉस्पिटल का 10 से 15,000 रुपए डेली का खर्चा है. तो it is important that you take at least a 5 lakh cover for yourself and family and 5 lakh for your parents. So health insurance is the first product that anybody should have. So now moving on to the next. Next is life insurance. So how many of you have a life insurance here? Okay, still like 60-70% have, 30-40% still do not have a life insurance. So life insurance you should buy, one should buy for who is the earning member of the family. Like because उनकी डेथ के कारण, उनकी डेथ के बाद परिवार को वो पैसा मिल पाए जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी आपको लाइफ के अगेंस्ट कवर कर रही है. While buying a life insurance, always make sure that you buy only a term plan. Do you understand what is a term plan? So never buy those products जहाँ पे आपको एजेंट्स आके बोलते हैं ना कि इसमें आपको मनी बैक मिलेगा 10 साल बाद, 20 साल बाद आपको मनी बैक मिलेगा. Do not buy those products. Do not buy a mix of investment and insurance product. Keep your investment separate. Keep your insurance separate. If you are aged around 27-28, आपको 1 करोड़ का लाइफ इंश्योरेंस मिल जाएगा 11,000 10,000. So that's not even a 1,000 per month of EMI. So जितना जल्दी आप लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लोगे, आपको लाइफ टाइम वही अमाउंट का प्रीमियम देना है. Always try कि पॉलिसीज जब आपको पॉलिसी सेल करते हैं तो एक फैक्टर ये भी होता है कि ये लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी है, आप ये पॉलिसी ना 5 साल में पे करो और 6 ईयर से आपको पे नहीं करना है. 5 साल में आपको हम 30% डिस्काउंट देंगे, 40% डिस्काउंट देंगे जो आप ओवरऑल लाइफ स्पैन में आप इंश्योरेंस पे करोगे. बट ऑलवेज बाय, अगर आप 27 ईयर्स के हो, आपको 77 तक का इंश्योरेंस मिल रहा है, पे दैट फॉर 50 ईयर्स. Do not pay lump sum in 5 installments or 10 installments. 50 साल का इंश्योरेंस है, हर साल 10-10 हजार दो, हर साल 2-2 लाख रुपए पे करके डिस्काउंट नहीं लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि 20वें साल में भी आपको 10,000 रुपए ही दें और 20 साल बाद 10,000 की वैल्यू वुड बी नेग्लिजिबल एज कंपेयर्ड टू टुडे. तो कंपनीज would try to sell you in this fashion कि आप 5 साल में अपना पूरा प्रीमियम पे कर दो और आप टेंशन फ्री हो. तो बेसिकली आप टेंशन फ्री नहीं हो, आप उनको जल्दी पैसे दे रहे हो और उस पैसे से वो कमाते हैं. So try that you spread out your insurance over the lifespan of like 45-50 years next, जब तक आपको प्रीमियम दें. Now let me talk about emergency fund. So we all know the importance of emergency fund now, because जब से COVID हुआ तो we all मतलब many people lost their jobs, कोई सेविंग्स नहीं है उनके पास. तो इंश्योर दैट एटलीस्ट कल को कोविड जैसी कोई सिचुएशन आई या दूसरी कोई भी सिचुएशन आई, एटलीस्ट यू शुड हैव 6 months ऑफ योर मंथली एक्सपेंस. 6 महीने का आपके पास इमरजेंसी फंड होना चाहिए. वो पैसा, दैट मनी इज नॉट टू इन्वेस्ट और टू ग्रो, दैट मनी इज फॉर योर फैमिली सिक्योरिटी. सो इंश्योर वो पैसा एकदम सेफ रहे. तो सेफ्टी के लिए यू शुड जो आप इमरजेंसी फंड अगर बनाते हैं तो इमरजेंसी फंड का आपका एलोकेशन 30% शुड बी इन योर सेविंग्स अकाउंट, 20% शुड बी इन योर एफडीज and 50% should be in liquid funds. So basically liquid funds और FD का जो रिटर्न होता है वो ऑलमोस्ट सेम होता है, बट लिक्विड फंड इज अ बेटर प्रोडक्ट फ्रॉम अ टैक्स पर्सपेक्टिव. उसका रीजन ये है, सपोज आपने 5 लाख रुपए की एफडी की और एक तरीके से 5% के हिसाब से आप 25,000 रुपए एफडी का इंटरेस्ट कमा रहे हो, ठीक है. तो 25,000 is added to your income for income tax purposes, right? यही अगर 5 लाख का आप लिक्विड फंड लेते हो और 5 लाख के लिक्विड फंड के लिए आपको 500 यूनिट्स मिलते हैं, मतलब एक यूनिट का कॉस्ट कितना हुआ 1,000 rupees. 500 units at 1,000 rupees, you are investing 5 lakh in a liquid fund. अब अगर आपको 1 लाख रुपए की ही जरूरत है, so you redeem 100 units. You redeem 100 units, you will get 1 lakh plus your return. तो जितना रिटर्न है ना, जैसे 1 लाख प्लस अगर 5% ही मानते तो 5,000 रुपए ही आपको रिडम्पशन पे गेन हुआ है, तो वो 5,000 रुपए पे ही आपको टैक्स लगेगा। वो 400 यूनिट जो आपके एक्यूमुलेटेड है उस पे आपको टैक्स नहीं लगेगा। So liquid funds are governed by the chapter of capital gains. So capital gains में whenever it's like a property. When you sell that property, only then you will be taxed. FDs are taxed on accrual basis. So you earn interest, you earn an interest of 25,000 rupees, you will be taxed on the complete 25,000. Liquid fund में अगर आप करते तो आपको 5,000 रुपए का ही 5,000 रुपए पे ही टैक्स लगता है। सो प्लीज इंश्योर कि आप इमरजेंसी फंड क्रिएट करें। किसी भी एक बैंक में 5 लाख रुपए से ज्यादा नहीं रखें। 5 अगर इफ यू वांट टू स्प्रेड आउट फॉर एफडी ऑफ 15 लाख रुपीस, कीप इट इन 3 सेपरेट बैंक्स, क्योंकि अगर इफ एनी यस बैंक फियास्को हैपेंस, सो आपकी 5 लाख तक की जो सिक्योरिटी एफडी है वो सिक्योर्ड है गवर्नमेंट से, बट ओनली टिल 5 लाख। अगर आप 50 लाख रुपए की एफडी कर देते हो, इफ द बैंक गोज बैंकरप्ट, तो आपका 5 लाख ही सेव है, 45 लाख इज नॉट सेव। सो ऑलवेज ट्राई टू स्प्लिट की 5 लाख से ज्यादा हमको एक बैंक में एफडी नहीं करना। Then after all the ATC options that I told you, हमने डिस्कस कर लिया इंश्योरेंस, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, इमरजेंसी फंड। तो ये बेसिक 3 चीजें हैं जो आपके पास होनी चाहिए। इफ यू हैव ऑल दीज 3 प्रोडक्ट्स, यू आर इन अ मच सेफर जोन। सो उसके बाद आप एटीसी कवर करने के लिए यू शुड इन्वेस्ट इन अ टैक्स सेवर फंड। टैक्स सेवर फंड में क्यों इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए? बिकॉज इट आल्सो गिव्स यू एटीसी बेनिफिट्स। इट हैज अ लॉक इन ऑफ ओनली 3 इयर्स। तो अगर आप में से कुछ लोग ऐसा सोच रहे होंगे कि हर साल 1.5 लाख रुपए एटीसी के लिए मैनेज करना इजी नहीं, राइट? मेनी ऑफ यू मस्ट बी थिंकिंग दैट। सो आप क्या कर सकते हो? इफ यू बाय एन ईएलएसएस, हाउ यू कैन प्लान? फर्स्ट ईयर में आप 1.5 लाख इन्वेस्ट किए, इंक्लूडिंग ऑल दी अदर थिंग्स। सेकेंड ईयर में आपने किया, थर्ड ईयर में आपने किया, फोर्थ ईयर में व्हाट यू डू, यू रिडीम दैट फर्स्ट ईयर्स इन्वेस्टमेंट। आप आज फोर्थ ईयर में वो इन्वेस्टमेंट बेचो, उसी दिन इन्वेस्टमेंट फिर खरीद लो, तो आपको फोर्थ ईयर उसी पैसे से फिर से एटीसी डिडक्शन मिल जाएगा। सेकेंड ईयर का फिफ्थ ईयर कर सकते हो। तो अगर आपके पास 4.5 लाख रुपए आप अगर 3 साल कर लेते हो, देन यू कैन रोल ओवर दैट ऑल योर लाइफ। तो फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव एटीसी डिडक्शन ऑफ 1.5 लाख ये सब कोई कर सकता। अगर आपने वो 3 साल अगर पेन लिया है, तो फ्रॉम फोर्थ ईयर ऑनवर्ड्स वो इन्वेस्टमेंट को ही अगर आप रिडीम करके री इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो आप एटीसी पूरा क्लेम कर पाओगे। How many of you invest in stock markets here? Okay, Chhattisgarh always has less जनता। अगर ये गुजरात में होता तो पान ठेले वाला भी बोलता मैं भी इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ। तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अब इट्स नॉट इजी कि आप रोज रोज मार्केट ट्रैक करो। मतलब यू आर वर्किंग 8 hours, देन यू आल्सो हैव योर पर्सनल लाइफ। सब फाइनेंस बैकग्राउंड से भी नहीं है, या लोग उतना टाइम भी नहीं दे पाते कि आप सीख पाओ। सो there are some easy strategies after tax saver fund. If you have more money at surplus, you should buy an index fund. इंडेक्स फंड मतलब क्या हुआ? आप निफ्टी में पैसा लगाओ, टॉप 50 कंपनीज हैं उसमें आप पैसा लगाओ, कोई फंड मैनेजर आपसे बहुत ज्यादा फीस चार्ज नहीं कर रहा है, तो योर द प्रोसेस ऑफ बाइंग एन इंडेक्स फंड इज वेरी चीप। इट्स अ लो कॉस्ट प्रोडक्ट। तो अगर आप कोई म्यूचुअल फंड से भी अगर लेते हैं, कोई एचडीएफसी का भी म्यूचुअल फंड लेंगे, द एक्सपेंस रेशियो इज हार्डली लाइक 0.05%, 0.06%। So go do an SIP in invest index fund. इंडेक्स फंड का अगर आप रिटर्न देखोगे तो फ्रॉम लास्ट, अगर एवरेज भी अगर मैं बोलूं तो 11-12% का कंपाउंडेड रिटर्न है। सो प्रेफर doing an SIP in invest index fund rather than buying gold or buying an illiquid asset like a real estate. रियल एस्टेट ना खरीद के अगर आप इंडेक्स फंड में इन्वेस्ट करते हो Suppose 7 years down the line आपको पैसे की जरूरत है, you sell your index fund, you get your money in 2 days. आप रियल एस्टेट में ये कर सकते हो क्या? Can you sell a land in 2 days? Can you sell a property in 2 days? अगर आपको immediate पैसे की जरूरत है. Also, your real estate returns are also not good. India as a economy is growing very good. बहुत सारे और फैक्टर्स जो अभी हो रहे हैं उसके कारण भी there's a very good scope for Indian economy in the future. So invest in markets. Go buy, if you don't understand anything, आप SIP करो, buy an index fund. An index fund beats 80-90% of active funds. So go buy a Sensex fund or a Nifty fund. Best it would be to buy a Nifty fund. Then let's discuss how many of you have personal loans here. Okay. So do one thing. Everybody list down all the loans that you have today. Okay. List down all the loans that you have taken. Try to pay your personal loans. Okay. Don't do credit card bounces, all of that. So try to repay all those loans first. Those are bad loans. So there are good loans and there are bad loans. So good loans are something like a home loan. जहाँ आपको 6.5-7% में होम लोन मिल रहा है. 7% के बाद आपको अप्रॉक्स आप उस पे जो टैक्स बेनिफिट ले रहे हो तो 20-30% पे के स्लैब में हो तो 7 का 30% आप हटा दो तो 2.1 आपको वहां टैक्स बेनिफिट मिल रहा है. So your home loan is actually costing you like 4.5 to 5% if you avail the tax benefit. That's a very good loan. Comparatively, अगर आप personal loan ले रहे हो तो you are paying like 15%, 13%, 18%. और personal loan में क्या होता है ना, आप 3 महीने के लिए लोन लिए या 6 महीने के लिए लोन लिया, कई लोग तो 15 दिन के लिए लेते हैं. तो what happens, you also pay a processing fees of 1%. अब 1% आप 1 महीने के लिए एनुअलाइज करो तो आप 12% तो प्रोसेसिंग फीस दे रहे हो पर एनम. तो वो अमाउंट इतना छोटा होता है कि हमको पता नहीं चलता, बट यू एंड अप पेइंग अ लॉट ऑफ मनी एंड यू आर वेस्टिंग दैट मनी. सो आप चॉक आउट करो आपके कौन से लोन्स है जिस पे हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट है, वो आप प्रीपे करने की कोशिश करो. एंड देयर इज आल्सो वन टिप. If you, for any loan, if you pay one more EMI every year, आप 12 EMI देते हैं, 20,000 की EMI है तो 20,000 देंगे. एक EMI आप और दो हर साल, और हर साल अपनी EMI 5% से बढ़ा दो. Year 2, year 3, year 4, आप 25 साल का लोन you can pay off in 12 and a half years. You मतलब आधे टाइम पे आप अपना लोन खत्म कर पाओगे. एंड दिस इज जस्ट अ डिसिप्लिन कि आपको एक ईएमआई और पटानी है और हर साल 5% से. वी ऑल कैन डू दैट राइट. 5% से हमको ईएमआई इंक्रीज करनी है हर साल. तो उस तरीके से यू विल बी एबल टू पे ऑफ योर लोन्स फास्टर. नाउ आफ्टर कोविड हैपेंड, many of us lost a lot of people in our lives. So आप इमोशनल बर्डन में तो हो ही आप ऐसी सिचुएशन में. मेक श्योर कि आप ऐसी सिचुएशन में अपनी फैमिली को नहीं छोड़ के जाएं कि उनको फाइनेंशियली भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो. तो आई हैव कवर्ड लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस फॉर दोस थिंग्स. इट इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट दैट यू अपडेट नॉमिनी. बहुत सारे लोग होंगे यहाँ पे, they must not have updated nominee in their bank account, demat account, mutual funds, insurance policies. उसके बाद क्या होता है, अपडेशन नहीं होता है तो कोर्ट के आप जो भी जिसको सर्वाइवर है, जिसको पैसे मिल रहे हैं, वो कोर्ट के चक्कर काट रहे हैं 3-3, 4-4 महीने. इट्स अ वेरी लेंथी प्रोसेस एंड यू ऑल नो कि लिटिगेशन और कोर्ट कैसे चलता है इंडिया में. सो ऑल प्लीज इंश्योर कि सारी आपकी फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, बैंक हो गया, म्यूचुअल फंड, डीमैट, अपडेट योर नॉमिनी. मेक श्योर दैट यू अपडेट योर नॉमिनी. it is also advisable कि एक अकाउंट आपका जॉइंट अकाउंट हो, आपका आपकी स्पाउस के साथ one account should be a joint account. Something happens to you that account is operative for the other person. They can do all the transactions legally. नहीं तो Mr. A का account है तो Mrs. A cannot operate after Mr. A passing away. तो ऐसा आप नहीं कर सकते कि बाद में आप स्वाइप कर लिए या नेट बैंकिंग से यूज कर लिए क्योंकि पासवर्ड पता था. This is not legal. So always ensure कि एक joint account रहे ताकि वो second holder भी उस account को legally operate कर पाए. So many of us must not be having this. और ये ऐसी चीजें जो हम ignore करते हैं, but it's very important that you keep it in your list. Please note down it in your phones if you want. कि आप लोग को update करना है nominee. Now I'll talk a little about allocation. So this is a very general rule. So सब आपका अपना भी हो सकता है, but there's a 50-30-20 rule. So whatever income that you earn in a month, 50% will go to your needs, utilities, etc. for all your monthly expenses. 30% for your wants. If you want to buy a new laptop, you want to go on a vacation, eat outside, go to movie party. So 30% is for that, and minimum 20% of your income. Suppose you're earning 50,000 a month, minimum 10,000 you should invest every month. That now this 20% should increase. If you want to lower down the other things, you can do that, but investment portion should not be less than 20%. And as you increase, आपका 50,000 है, 60,000 हो जाता है salary. Make sure जो incremental आप earn कर रहे हो, उसमें से 40-50% आप investment की तरफ divert करो. The early you start, the better you will be able to compound your money. Now allocating your investment out of that 20% that you have allocated for investment. उसमें से for equity allocation there again this is a general rule. It's a simple formula. 100 minus age. So sir, what is your age? 34. So for him the ideal equity allocation would be 100 minus 34. 66% of his investment corpus should go to equity. So that includes your index fund, tax saver fund, direct stocks. If you don't want to pick direct stocks, you can invest in these 2-3 funds. So that would be your equity allocation. For hedging, you should also have some investment in gold. Okay. So with gold, not buying a physical gold. मतलब आपको jeweler के पास जाके gold नहीं खरीदना है. ना ही आपको you must be seeing a lot of ads on your UPI. डिजिटल गोल्ड के बारे में, तो डिजिटल गोल्ड भी आपको नहीं खरीदना है. देयर इज अ प्रोडक्ट सोवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स. बाय सोवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स. सो यू कैन बाय इट फ्रॉम सेकेंडरी मार्केट अगर आप डीमैट अकाउंट है आपके पास. नहीं तो एसजीबीस के इशू आते हैं तो आप अपने बैंक से भी एसजीबी का इशू ले सकते हो. सो दैट हैज अ लॉक इन ऑफ 8 years. एंड आल्सो एसजीबीस अगर 55,000 अगर मार्केट में भाव चल रहा है अगर गोल्ड का, तो डेफिनेटली आपको एसजीबी 51,000 पे मिलेगा. सो यू आल्सो गेट दैट इन अ 8 to 10% डिस्काउंट टू द मार्केट प्राइस. आल्सो जो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट है 2.5% आपको उस इन्वेस्टमेंट में हर साल इंटरेस्ट भी मिलेगा. तो 50,000 रुपए में अगर आपने आज गोल्ड खरीदा है, 8 साल बाद अगर वो 80,000 का होता है, तो 8 साल बाद जब आपका रिडेम्पशन होगा तो वो 80,000 आपको मिलेगा. 2.5% तो आपको मिल ही रहा था. बट अगर आप फिजिकल गोल्ड लेते हो, ज्वेलरी लेते हो, तो you end up paying GST, you end up paying making charges on that. You also end up buying it at a higher cost than what is available. So if do an allocation of equity in gold and do an allocation of, you can do up to a 10% allocation there. Then for the balance, you can invest in debt or you can invest in bonds. So for bonds, there are products. Previously, what used to happen, आप 10 लाख रुपए तक मिनिमम टिकट साइज होता था कि 10 लाख का बॉन्ड खरीद सकते हो, 10 लाख रुपए का बॉन्ड तो सब नहीं खरीद सकते। सो इन मार्केट देयर आर प्रोडक्ट्स लाइक गोल्डन पाई, विंटवेल, जहाँ 20,000 रुपए 10,000 रुपए का भी बॉन्ड खरीद सकते हो, वेर यू get an interest of like 9-10% every year. So आपका डेट में भी एक एलोकेशन हो सकता है. डेट एंड बॉन्ड्स कम विद अ लिटिल रिस्क. So whenever you buy a debt or buy a bond, make sure कि वो AAA rated हो. उसकी रेटिंग चेक करना बहुत जरूरी है. ऐसा नहीं हो कि C नेगेटिव B नेगेटिव बॉन्ड है, ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट दे रहा है बट क्वालिटी अच्छी नहीं है. So do not compromise with quality when you are buying any or doing any investment. And also debt bonds are tax efficient when compared to FDs. जो मैंने liquid funds वाला एग्जांपल दिया था, तो अगर आप 50,000 का डेट बॉन्ड खरीदते हो, आप 10,000 रुपए का जब बॉन्ड बेचते हो तो आपको कैपिटल गेन 10,000 रुपए के गेन पे ही लगेगा. 40,000 रुपए जो आपका इन्वेस्टेड है वो उस साल आपने रिडीम नहीं किया तो अक्रूवल इंटरेस्ट पे आपको उसका टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ेगा. So to summarize, so this is the priority order I would say. So must buy a health insurance for all your family members, including your parents. 5 लाख का cover होना चाहिए each. Then buy a life insurance for yourself. Buy only a term plan. Keep an emergency fund of 6 months. Pay off all your bad loans like credit card defaults and personal loans over 12, 13, 15% per annum. Pay off those loans first before you invest. Pay off these bad loans. Okay. Then if you have a loan, long-term loan like a home loan, pay 1 EMI extra. Do increment of 5% EMI every year. You will be able to pay off your loan. 25 साल का लोन 12-13 साल में pay off कर दोगे. Follow 50-40-20 rule. Minimum 20% of your monthly income should go to investments. Invest in equity by this formula 100 minus age, balance in SGB and debts. People also question about cryptocurrencies. I do not understand them much, but आप उतना आप 1-2% इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. जितना पैसा अगर वो डूब जाता है, जीरो हो जाता है, आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. That should be your crypto allocation if you want to. Because now it is not tax friendly also, so I do not advise that. And do not block your money in liquid assets जिसका 15 साल 10 साल लॉक इन है. जब आपको पैसों की जरूरत है आप नहीं ले सकते. Do not invest in real estate unless you have a lot of money. अगर आपके पास इक्विटी में बहुत पैसा है कि अब बहुत पैसे की कमी नहीं है तो चलो प्रॉपर्टी ले लेते हैं, उस सिचुएशन में प्लीज बाय अ रियल एस्टेट. अदरवाइज डू नॉट बाय अ रियल एस्टेट. And reduce your tax outgo as discussed. ये exemptions and deductions है, mostly आप यही use कर सकते हो. Please use all these things. ये आप करो और बहुत पैसे आप बचाओगे. So to close and in crux, if you can reduce your net total income up to 5 lakh rupees after availing all the exemption deductions, you pay zero tax. If you fall between 5 to 10 lakh, it's a 20%. Above 10 lakh, it's a 30% tax. So I am discussing old regime majorly because the new regime does not have many benefits. And what we have practically realized, old regime is better in majority of the cases. But आप compare करो दोनों situation जिसमें आपका tax outgo कम है, आप वो opt करो. Salaried people can choose every year. Anybody who's into business cannot opt in opt out, but अगर आप सैलरी कमाते हो तो आप हर साल वो चूज कर सकते हो. So you can plan that early in the year also. इस साल के लिए प्लान अभी करो. मार्च में नहीं करना है या मार्च जाने के बाद आप कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे for the current year. So make sure कि इन सब चीजों को आप आज प्लान करो कि मेरे को कौन से इंस्ट्रूमेंट में कितना पैसा डालना है and do an SIP of that. Save as much as tax as possible as I discussed. So because there's a limitation here, आप बहुत एक point के बाद आप tax नहीं बचा सकते. That's not in your hand. That's not under your control. Grow your money by investing in the right way in quality products. Do not compromise with quality. This is something you can, control. So that's it. You can also follow me on Twitter. I write about taxation and personal finance. Thank you for having me. So yeah, if anybody has any questions.
Yes, sir. I have a question. So can you please tell me more about gratuity and what is the rate of interest applicable on gratuity that we receive? Is there any rate of interest?
No, gratuity is basically it's a retirement benefit. So company gives you a gratuity, and there are three limits out of which the least. So basically, up to 20 lakh rupees of gratuity that you get from your employer is tax exempt.
Actually, what my question is, see, you told us about the PF rate of interest, that
Yeah.
12% that we receive,
Yes.
and sorry, that 12% is the amount that is deducted from our salary, and right now it is 8.1% according to the EPFO website. Previously it was 8.5, but right now it is 8.1.
Right.
That's what I learned from the internet.
Yeah.
And the amount that is being accumulated, like which is being deducted from my salary, and it is being accumulated in the company's account. So what is the rate of interest at which my money is going, which is held with the company?
So, which is held with the EPFO.
No, I'm talking about the part of gratuity.
Gratuity, right? So gratuity is, you're not earning any interest from gratuity. That's a provision which the company is creating for your retirement. Now, gratuity, first of all, when a person will get gratuity, there are certain conditions he has to comply. Firstly, 5 years of continuous service a person has to serve. And upon completion of those 5 years, if you are retiring or resigning, or a person has passed away, 5 years of completed service is there, then that person is entitled to gratuity. At what rate the gratuity is paid? The last wages drawn by you. For example, Mr. A है, उनका last wages drawn मतलब उनका last basic pay plus DA. आपका gross salary हो सकता है 30,000 हो, but basic pay plus DA आपका 7,000 है, suppose 7 या 9,000 है, तो उस और लास्ट जिस मंथ आपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन छोड़ा या रिटायर हुए हो, उस पिछले मंथ पे आपका बेसिक पे प्लस ये 9,000 था, उसका 50% हर कंप्लीटेड साल के लिए आपको 15 दिन का सैलरी एज अ कॉम्पेंसेशन मिलेगा एम्प्लॉयर से जब आप ऑर्गेनाइजेशन छोड़ रहे हैं, तो वो उसका प्रोविजन क्रिएट कर जा रहा है. यू आर नॉट अर्निंग एनी इंटरेस्ट.
So this is not like PF की हर बार डिडक्ट हो रहा है और वो जमा हो रहा है.
Not growing
No.
there.
Right.
It's just being kept in
No,
the
this
company,
is
not growing.
so you can understand this is like a bonus given to you. So that this was not your salary. So when you retired, you also got this and graduate.
I
This
think
is like
you're
a
getting
surplus.
confused because it is listed in your CTC and you're thinking कि ये deduct,
Yeah,
Oh,
it is being deducted.
right?
It's a
Now I will
surplus.
tell you the other way around, that it was not part of your salary. You will get it post completion of 5 years of service, and when you leave, for all those, suppose you work for 22 years, so you'll get it for 15 days of your last drawn salary for 22 years. Right? Suppose you leave at a salary of 1 lakh rupees, out of which your basic pay and DA was 20,000. So 20,000 divided by 2 would be 10,000. 10,000 into 22, because you served for 22 years. That much amount you will get. Now company will start making the provision for it from the first year itself. वो kitty में set aside करेंगे. Now when they will set aside, so actually that's not your salary. That's something they have to pay you on retirement. So therefore वो आप CTC में देख के आपको लग रहा है कि वो CTC में आपको salary से reduce करके रख रहे हैं, जबकि वो salary का part ही नहीं था, आपको show कर रहे हैं कि आपके लिए इतना हम अलग करते जा रहे हैं, और आपका CTC टोटल में आप इसको भी कंसीडर करो जब आपको कितना बेनिफिट कंपनी दे रही है उसको गिनने में.
Because it's a cost to the company, right? So it is a part of CCC.
Thank you. Understood.
So adding on to this question, like the company pays the gratuity for whatever amount of period you are associated. Why not make use of it in NPS? Put that interest contribution instead of
Gratuity is a compulsory provision. So as in my PPT I was going to discuss about that this the organization has to do. It cannot say that okay I'll be able to plan my employees' retirement in a better fashion and not contribute towards this gratuity. Rather I'll start buying stocks for them, for example. And once the person retires or leaves the organization post completion of 5 years, I'll give them that stocks. उसका जो भी value appreciation होगा उसके साथ. But that cannot be done because this is how the law is structured. PF कटना है तो कटना है, gratuity का provision बनाना है तो बनाना है. That's why it's a boring part and उसको स्ट्रक्चर भी नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि as संभव बोल जो टैक्स प्लानिंग के लिए अपने अलाउंसेस को स्ट्रक्चर कर सकते हो कि भाई मुझे ये ट्रैवलिंग अलाउंस चाहिए अपने सैलरी कंपोनेंट में
ये
चाहिए या आप ये 5,000 रुपए का गिफ्ट का कंपोनेंट कर व्हिच आई सॉ दैट स्कीमेंट इज फॉलोइंग कि आप लोग को 5,000 का एक गिफ्ट कंपोनेंट है सैलरी स्ट्रक्चर में क्योंकि वो टैक्स एग्जेम्प्ट होगा आप लोगों के लिए अब आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर क्लेमिंग दैट इन योर आइडियाज बट दैट इज नॉट योर टैक्सेबल पोर्शन सो वैसा तो चेंज कर सकते हैं बट पीएफ ईएसआईसी के लिए आप ट्वीक अभी तक लोग क्या करते थे बेसिक और डीए को कम से कम कर लो बाकी अलाउंसेस को ज्यादा कर लो तो उससे क्या होता था बेसिक प्लस डीए पे पीएफ और ईएसआईसी कटता है ग्रेचुइटी भी बेसिक प्लस डीए पे निकलता है तो आपका टेक होम कम नहीं होता था बट अब जो अमेंडमेंट आ जाएगा इफेक्टिव हो जाएगा नेक्स्ट ईयर से बेसिक प्लस डीए 50% तो रहेगा ही रहेगा so you cannot reduce that below 50% and that's why I was discussing your
and majorly what happens is ये जो 40-50% वाली लिमिट है तो आपका अभी टेक होम ऐसा हो रहा है कि कुछ कम हो रहा है बट ग्रेचुइटी बेनिफिट पीएफ बेनिफिट्स तो आपको ज्यादा मिल रहा है तो ओवरऑल अगर आप देखोगे तो इट्स नॉट डेट्रीमेंटल टू द एम्प्लॉय
Sir, I have a question. So you spoke about keeping investment separate and keeping insurance part separate. But how do you see the value of life insurance? I mean, the fact that let's say I have a life insurance of 1 crore right now.
Okay.
Post 30 years, the value of 1 crore will depreciate, right? Rather than putting 1,000 every month in a life insurance product, why can I not put it in a mutual fund, wherein and one that is also liquid and two because compounding, right? So I think in my perspective, I feel that over the period of time, I'll be able to make more money in mutual fund than simply park it with life insurance.
Okay, so the purpose of life insurance is basically safety. So can you tell that you will die only after 30 years? If somebody dies after 4 years, your family gets 1 crore. If you do a SIP of 1,000 rupees for 4 years, you hardly do not even get 5-10 lakh rupees.
I would like to add to that. दो चीजों की बात करिए as Sambhav said do not mix investments and insurance Sambhav did not say that do not do investments if you go for a traditional LIC plan
Yeah, like if you take a ULIP plan, okay, तो ULIP plan में आपको कैसे बेचेंगे कि 1 लाख रुपए आपको ULIP का पे करना है हर साल उसमें आपको 20 लाख का कवर दे देंगे इंश्योरेंस का और बोलेंगे कि 10 साल बाद ना आपको 3-4 लाख मतलब 4 लाख रुपए मिलेगा या 10 लाख रुपए मिलेगा तो बेसिकली आप 1 लाख रुपए पूरा पे कर रहे हो आपको लग रहा है मेरा पैसा वापस आ जाएगा तो इसमें जो इन्वेस्टमेंट पार्ट है उसमें आपका पैसा 3-4% सालाना ही ग्रो हो रहा है और आपको इंश्योरेंस कवर मिल रहा है 20 लाख रुपए तो बेसिकली आप जितने भी मैक्सिमम LIC के प्रोडक्ट्स अगर आप उठा के देखोगे तो वो ऐसे ही स्ट्रक्चर्ड है इसलिए तो LIC इतना पैसा कमाते हैं तो वो पैसा कहाँ से आता है बेसिकली आप और मैं ही तो उनको पैसे दे रहे हैं राइट
तो रादर आप ये कर सकते हैं इस चीज में
तो इसमें आपको कवर 20 लाख रुपए का मिला और आप 1 लाख रुपए दे रहे हो तो यू फील कि मैं तो बहुत अच्छा इंश्योरेंस लिया मैं अगर इतने पैसे दे और जो 10-11 हजार का भी टर्म प्लान आप कोई प्राइवेट इंश्योरर से लेते हो LIC में द सेम प्रोडक्ट विल कॉस्ट यू 27,000 30,000 सो इट इज एक्चुअली 2.5 times expensive than many plans but brand value इतना अच्छा है कि लोगों को बहुत ट्रस्ट है ये चीज
So as your question was कि आप 1,000 रुपए की बात कर रहे हो साल का 12,000 रुपए हो गए तो आप टर्म इंश्योरेंस लेते तो 12,000 rupees आप टर्म इंश्योरेंस के लिए दे रहे हो you are saying that you are not getting any benefit out of that right rather you would have invested
In case I end up living for
right
next
Yeah,
so at the same time if
yeah because very valid question so you are putting 1 lakh in a ULIP against that so that you get a money back or any other plan तो आप क्या करो 1,000 रुपए का आप इंश्योरेंस दे रहे हो ना बाकी बैलेंस को आप इन्वेस्ट करो ना अगर आप 7,000 रुपए इन्वेस्ट करोगे 30 साल बाद अगर आप इफ यू कंपाउंड इट एट 10% ऑल्सो 11% ऑल्सो और आप इंश्योरेंस का जितना पैसा दे चुके हो वो तो आपका पैसा वेस्ट हो गया ठीक है उसका तो अपने को मनी बैक मिल नहीं रहा तो भी नेट में योर इन्वेस्टमेंट जो आपको रिजल्टेंट मनी मिल रहा है ना 30 साल बाद सिर्फ अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट से because you did not buy a mix of investment plus insurance product, वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा होगा against what you would have got in a money back policy. Yes.
सर जो आपने टर्म के बारे में बताया तो उसमें मार्केट में एक्चुअली है कि जो रिफंडेबल तो यानी उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट करना आपके लिए बेनिफिट है कि
उसमें प्रीमियम्स आए होंगे, उसमें ये फीचर है कि
अगर जो भी हम
हाँ।
प्रीमियम करते हैं वो कभी जो भी टैक्स आपका सर्विस का एक्सपेंस बढ़ा के वो रिफंड
करेक्ट, तो ये इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं पहले तो, क्योंकि आपका पैसा ग्रो नहीं हुआ। वो ये बोल रहे हैं अगर आपको कुछ नहीं हुआ तो आपका प्रीमियम आपको वापस कर, so absolute money आपको वापस हो रहा है। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दिस इज नॉट इन्वेस्टमेंट, एंड सेकेंडली प्रीमियम इस सिर्फ इस पॉइंट की वजह से कितना इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं उसके बेसिस पे आप कंपेयर करेंगे, देन यू विल हैव एन एक्चुअल आइडिया कि अगर सपोज आई एम पेइंग फॉर एग्जांपल 2500 रुपीस एक्स्ट्रा in the premium per year for this facility, so how much I would have been able to earn if with this 2500 I would have invested। और अगर आप इसका मैथ करोगे एक्सेल में तो आपको वो 2500 आप इन्वेस्ट करते जाओ और इन स्पैन ऑफ 20-25 इयर्स सपोज आपको कुछ नहीं हुआ है और वो 20-25 इयर्स में जितना वो बोले थे रिटर्न करेंगे उतना तो आपको उससे ज्यादा ही आपको इस 2500 पे इन्वेस्ट करके मिल जाएगा। तो रादर आप ये प्लान ना लें कि रिटर्न ऑफ प्रीमियम वाला प्लान, इंस्टेड यू चूज फॉर द बेसिक प्लान एंड इन्वेस्ट दैट अमाउंट व्हिच दे आर आस्किंग एक्स्ट्रा, वो खुद से आप इन्वेस्ट।
बेसिकली ये जो प्योर टर्म प्लान है ये आपको 10-11 हजार में मिल रहा है। ऐसा कोई प्रोडक्ट जो आप बोल रहे हो वो आपको डेफिनेटली 5,000-7,000 महंगा ही मिलेगा। तो मतलब वी हैव रिसर्च ऑल दीस काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स, बेस्ट मैथ यही है। अगर आपको थंब रूल अगर आप बोलो तो डू नॉट मिक्स योर इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड इंश्योरेंस, अगर आप उसको अलग-अलग रखोगे दैट विल बी बेटर। या मनी बैक पॉलिसी अगर कंपनी ये बेच रही है तो डेफिनेटली कंपनी उस चीज का फायदा उठाए।
हेलो 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 yes, hi, my name is Shubhinshu. I have a small question, like for the gratuity thing. Earlier, like I am asking about our case. The company name was Steelmint Info Services LLP, and now it is BigMint Technologies Private Limited. So gratuity, sir said it to take 5 years. So now the legal entity is different. So from which date the 5 years should be considered? From the date the things has been shifted to BigMint, or the day, malab, the joining in Steelmint?
In that case, it's the date of joining, because this particular it's a case of business transfer within the group from one entity to another. So continuous service will be counted from your date of joining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Are the employees who are not coming under the flexible income, are they eligible for
No, Form 16 is a certificate which your employer will issue you. So they will issue to all the persons, all the employees. Yeah, even if your TDS is not deducted, if TDS is not deducted in your case, then it is voluntary. You may not get, and that's fine. But if TDS is deducted, then compulsorily they have to be Form 16. Ideally, even if you do not fall under tax, if you do not have any tax to pay. So I just mentioned that if your taxable income is up to 5 lakh rupees, you pay no tax. But if your income exceeds 2.5 lakh rupees, you need to file your income tax return. So between 2.5 to 5, there is a rebate. So to claim that rebate, you need to file your income tax return. Also, even if your salary is 4 lakh, 4.5 lakh, you need not pay any tax. Do file your returns, because अगर आप होम लोन लेने जाते हो, कोई भी लोन लेने जाते हो, you get a better rate of interest also. And if you do not have an income document, तो लोन में भी प्रॉब्लम आती है.
I think आपका क्वेश्चन इसी चीज के रिगार्डिंग है कि when you are going for a loan, the bank is asking copy of Form 16 from you, and
in the financial sector, I've seen these things. The person who is not under the taxable or something like that. They are providing each and every employee. It's a good practice.
It's a good practice, but it is not mandatory on the part of employers to do so. Because if their Form 16 is certificate of deduction of tax. So if no tax is deducted for that employee, it's not it's not a foundation of the employer to give Form 16. But what happens practically is that when the employee goes for a loan, then the bank asks for the copy of Form 16 to actually validate whether this person is actually an employee of that organization or not. And at times, people fudge their salaries or show their employment that they're employed, whereas actually they're not employed. So for that reason, banks at times insist. But as per RBI policy, you can tell the bank that it's not mandatory. Also, RBI has in fact come out with certain guidelines wherein that it has clarified that if the employee's TDS is not being deducted, Form 16 is not a mandatory document for the purpose of loan sanction. So you should discuss this with the banker, because at times bankers follow this straightforward, straight-jacketed checklist and insist on Form 16 despite there is not a legal requirement for the same. So for the purposes of avoiding that confusion or discussion with the HR and accounts team, big companies, what would they do? Because they have 1,000 employees. Now, supposedly 400 employees are such जिनका TDS नहीं डिडक्ट होता, उनके साथ वो डिस्कशन करने से बजाय बेटर है कि उनको Form 16 इशू ही कर दो, वाले वो नहीं कर. So that's why they are following this.
Sir?
Sir, a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from people
Basically, जैसे मैं आपको Mint 12 या Golden Pie के बारे में बता रहा हूँ, तो these platforms आप बॉन्ड में ऐसे इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि मिनिमम टिकट साइज बहुत ज्यादा है, 5 लाख 10 लाख है. So they allow you to invest in like 10,000 20,000 rupees भी आप उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. ये completely safe नहीं है. कोई भी डेट प्रोडक्ट, डेट म्यूचुअल फंड भी हो गया तो every debt product also comes with a risk. So अगर आप फीचर्स देखोगे तो अगर कोई B नेगेटिव रेटेड है तो वो ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट आपको ऑफर कर रहे होंगे, तो जितनी अच्छी एसेट क्वालिटी होगी उतना कम इंटरेस्ट होगा. तो ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि कोई B माइनस है या C माइनस है तो वो डिफॉल्ट करेगा ही करेगा, बट एसेट क्वालिटी अच्छी नहीं है. अगर फॉर एग्जांपल अगर यस बैंक बॉन्ड से रेस कर रहा है पैसे, तो क्या आप अपने पैसे देना चाहोगे उनको? बिकॉज दैट बैंक हैज डिफॉल्टेड, तो उसकी क्रेडिट रेटिंग बहुत खराब है. तो क्रेडिट रेटिंग खराब है, वो आपको ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट भी देने के लिए रेडी है. सो दैट डिसीजन यू हैव टू मेक. तो कि इतने इंटरेस्ट के लिए मैं ये रिस्क ले सकता हूँ या नहीं ले सकता हूँ, बट इट्स नॉट अ 100% रिस्क फ्री प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि आपको इंटरेस्ट ही 9, 10, 11% मिल रहा है. एफडी का इंटरेस्ट 4-5% है जो सेफ इन्वेस्टमेंट है. तो आपको अगर उसमें कोई अल्फा मिल रहा है तो दैट कम्स विद अ रिस्क.
asking about this by investing in the platforms.
एंड इन्वेस्टिंग प्लेटफॉर्म का रिस्क नहीं रहता. अगर आप बोलोगे तो उस एसेट में जो आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो वो एसेट की क्वालिटी अगर अच्छी है तो आपको पैसे जरूर मिलेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप अपने ब्रोकर से भी, सपोज आप जीरोधा से इन्वेस्ट करते हो, आपने एचडीएफसी बैंक के शेयर्स लिए हैं, तो वो बैंक अगर जीरोधा कल को बंद भी हो जाता है तो आपको सीडीएसएल के थ्रू शेयर्स अलॉट होंगे, तो उससे आपके होल्डिंग्स पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. तो ब्रोकर वाली चीज मतलब उसके बंद हो जाने से आपका एसेट पे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
So to add on to this, with respect to the platform, what Sambhav was telling was firstly, point number one, that ticket size is 10 lakh rupees. Now supposedly you want to invest 1 lakh. Here are 10 people who want to invest in that bond. So उन लोग suppose Mint 12 में invest कर देते हैं 1 lakh each, तो एक bond वो 10 लोगों के लिए हो. So Mint 12 is buying that bond. On papers it has the ownership, and at the same time it issues you the security receipts with respect to beneficial ownership to the extent of 10% of one particular bond. क्योंकि आप 10% इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो उस बॉन्ड में, जो कि 10 लाख का है जिसमें से 1 लाख आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, तो 10% की बेनिफिशियल ओनरशिप के लिए वो आपको डॉक्यूमेंट दे रहा है। अब कल को कुछ होता भी है मिड, तो जब आप उस अपने बेनिफिशियल ओनरशिप को एनफोर्स कराने जाओगे, तो उस एक बॉन्ड में जितने लोगों की बेनिफिशियल ओनरशिप है, जैसे 5% होगी, 8% होगी, 10%, वो बॉन्ड इशुअर कंपनी डिफॉल्ट नहीं की है, मिड प्लेटफॉर्म का प्रॉब्लम है। तो बॉन्ड इशुअर कंपनी तो अपने बॉन्ड होल्डर्स के बेनिफिशियल ओनर्स को ऑनर करेगी अगर सपोज प्लेटफॉर्म को कुछ हो जाए। सो टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन,
देखो रेटिंग एजेंसीज और मतलब ऑन द बैक साइड रेटिंग एजेंसीज वर्क अ लॉट, तो उनके हिसाब से वो एक रेटिंग दे रहे हैं। एज आई सेड रिस्क तो फिर भी है, अगर आप स्ट्रेट में ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता कि नहीं ट्रिपल है तो डिफॉल्ट हो ही नहीं सकता। कैन यू गारंटी कि रिलायंस कभी डूब भी नहीं सकता, ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते ना। इवन इफ इट्स अ वेरी गुड कंपनी, इट हैज अ मैसिव ऑपरेशन, बट यू कैन नॉट गारंटी दैट। तो वो चीज है, बट टू डिसाइड इट्स अ वेरी वेरी गुड फैक्टर। आप रेटिंग देख के आप इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन ले सकते, बट एज आई सेड रिस्क तो है, रिस्क रहेगा, but it's on a scale of low to high risk, it's a low risk than other rated products.
So my question is based on income tax filing. Filing income tax just based on Form 16 income, is it sufficient, not showcasing the income from other sources? And how much trouble a person who is filing income tax this way is going to have in the coming days?
So last year government brought government brought this document, annual information statement. So जो भी आपके बैंकिंग चैनल से जो सारी इनकम्स आप रिपोर्ट कर रहे हो, या जो इनकम उसमें आ रही है, सपोज इट्स एन इंटरेस्ट इनकम और डिविडेंड इनकम, वो डेटा ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट के पास है। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि फॉर्म 16 में जो सैलरी आप वो डाले, आप रिटर्न फाइल कर दिए। यू शुड ऑल्सो डिस्क्लोज ऑल योर अदर इनकम्स, यू शुड डिस्क्लोज ऑल योर अदर इनकम्स, इंटरेस्ट है, डिविडेंड है, अगर आपका कोई कैपिटल गेन है तो यू डेफिनेटली शुड, क्योंकि आप जो भी सिक्योरिटी भी बाय सेल कर रहे हो सारा डेटा एआईएस में है। तो अगर आप नहीं फाइल करोगे एनीवे यू आर गोइंग टू गेट अ नोटिस। तो ये पहले हो जाता था, अब जितना जितना आईटी इंजीनियर्स आर वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड फॉर दैट। सो तो ये this has become very difficult to disclose all your incomes.
And how much time that particular person has?
When they receive a notice, so they have to respond within 30 days. So and the penalty can start from 30% to 100%. So if your income is 1 lakh rupees, you might have to pay a 1 lakh penalty. So it's always better that you disclose everything. So as I said, with the help of IT engineers, this has become difficult for us also.
Before taking this question, sir, this is the last question. Any more question? You can directly ask those questions to sir on Twitter. Sir, is it okay with you?
Yeah, you can DM me on Twitter. You can mail as well. Aapka question le.
Yeah,
the question.
So in case of capital gain, you get capital loss. So how can we get the capital loss?
So capital, if you have any capital loss, you can carry forward that for 8 years. तो अगर आपका 50,000 रुपए का कोई capital loss है इस साल, आप उसको next year carry forward कर सकते हो. If you have a gain of 70,000 rupees, you set off that 50,000, pay tax on 20,000. तो आप 8 साल तक वो carry forward कर सकते हो.
Deduction नहीं दे सकते.
नहीं, deduction नहीं मिलेगी. So बेसिकली वो सेट ऑफ रूल्स वैसे हैं कि आप उसकी डिडक्शन नहीं ले सकते, आप कैरी फॉरवर्ड करोगे व्हेन इट्स रिलेटेड टू कैपिटल गेन्स. Any further question? One last question.
We'll ask you on Twitter. Because
Okay,
I know
okay, cool.
one of us has a lot of questions.
Okay.
But due to limitation of time.
Sure.
we'd like to
It was great. Thanks for having us. Bye.